8 seconds. That's how long it took for a single punch to shatter 40 years of tradition, to silence 500 witnesses, and to transform an arrogant master into a humble student. Seattle, Washington, March 1967. A challenger walks through the door, calls Bruce Lee a fraud in front of hundreds of students, demands a fight to expose him. What happens next doesn't just end the challenge, it redefines what mastery actually means. This is the story of 8 seconds that changed a life, and the 2 hours afterward that proved winning a fight and teaching a lesson are two completely different things. The Jun Fan Gung Fu Academy sat on the second floor of a brick building in Seattle's University District, corner of 4th Avenue and Pike Street. You reached it by climbing a narrow wooden staircase that creaked with every step. At the top, a simple door, hand-painted sign, black letters on white wood, Jun Fan Gung Fu. No fancy graphics, no mystical dragons, just the name. That's all it needed. Saturday afternoon, March 1967. Outside, Seattle rain hammered against the windows, that persistent Pacific Northwest rain that doesn't fall so much as hang in the air like weighted mist, the kind that soaks through jackets and chills to the bone. Inside, 500 people packed into a space built for 200. Students sitting cross-legged on the hardwood floor, some standing against walls, some squeezed into the doorway trying to see, some perched on window ledges, every square foot occupied. The air thick with humidity from wet clothes and breathing bodies, thick with sweat and the sharp medicinal smell of liniment oil Bruce used on his knuckles. The windows fogged from the heat of packed humanity. Someone had opened 2 windows, but it barely helped. The room was a furnace. Bruce Lee stood at the front wearing simple black training pants and a white t-shirt, both soaked through with sweat. No shoes. He trained barefoot because shoes lie to your feet about balance and connection to the ground. 26 years old, 5'7", 135 pounds, lean muscle wrapped tight over frame. Not big, definitely not big by traditional martial arts master standards. Looked like a college student standing still, someone you'd pass on the street without noticing. But then he moved, and everything changed. This was his open seminar, held twice a year, where anyone could come and watch him teach, where traditional martial artists could see what he called his style of no style, where skeptics could judge for themselves whether this Chinese immigrant revolutionizing martial arts was real or just another con man selling Eastern mysticism to gullible Westerners. The room was split. Half his devoted students who'd trained with him for months or years, half curious outsiders, traditionalists, skeptics, people who'd heard the rumors and wanted to see if Bruce Lee was everything they claimed. Bruce was 40 minutes into demonstrating what he called economy of motion, explaining that traditional kung fu wasted movement, too many forms, too many flowery techniques that looked beautiful but didn't work in real combat. He demonstrated on Jesse Glover, his first American student, a man built like a truck who Bruce trusted completely. Bruce showed how a traditional horse stance telegraphed your intentions, how a crane stance left you vulnerable, how the fancy hand movements of classical kung fu gave your opponent all the time in the world to counter. The students watched in fascination, some nodding, some taking notes, some looking uncomfortable because Bruce was systematically dismantling everything their previous teachers had taught them. But Bruce didn't care about comfort. He cared about truth, about what worked in a real fight when someone was actually trying to hurt you, not what looked good in a demonstration, not what ancient masters did 300 years ago, what worked now, today, in the street. Then the door opened hard. The sound cut through Bruce's explanation like a knife. Everyone turned. A man walked in, late 30s, maybe 40, Chinese, wearing a traditional black silk kung fu uniform, the expensive kind with gold embroidery on the chest, dragon patterns on the shoulders, the kind that cost $300 and announced you took this very seriously. His hair was pulled back in a traditional queue, face hard as stone, eyes scanning the room with pure contempt. He walked straight down the center aisle. Students scrambled out of his way. He didn't acknowledge them, just walked with deliberate arrogance toward the front, toward Bruce. Every movement purposeful, every movement designed to command attention, to dominate the space. Bruce stopped teaching, watched this man approach, didn't say anything, just waited. The room went silent, 500 people holding their breath. Jesse Glover stepped aside, giving space, sensing something about to happen. The man stopped 10 feet from Bruce, close enough to be confrontational, far enough to maintain formality. He looked Bruce up and down, slowly, taking in his simple clothes, his bare feet, the lack of traditional martial arts regalia. His lip curled with disgust. Then he spoke. His voice carried through the entire room, loud, sharp, designed to be heard. He spoke in Cantonese first, then switched to heavily accented English so everyone understood. Jun Lee is a fraud, a charlatan, a disgrace to Chinese martial arts. He teaches bastardized techniques to white people and black people who have no business learning sacred Chinese fighting systems. He disrespects tradition, disrespects the old masters, disrespects everything Kung Fu stands for. He is not a real martial artist. He is a performer, an actor playing pretend. And worst of all, he charges money to teach watered-down garbage to Americans who don't deserve to learn real Kung Fu. The room exploded, not with sound, but with tension. You could feel it like electricity. 500 people stopped breathing. Bruce's students looked angry, ready to defend their teacher. The outsiders looked fascinated. This was what they came for: drama, confrontation, proof one way or another. Jesse Glover's fists clenched, but he didn't move, because Bruce hadn't moved, and when Bruce doesn't move, everyone freezes. Bruce let the words hang in the air, let them settle. Let everyone hear them and process them and feel them. Then he asked one question in Cantonese, calm, quiet, almost polite. "What is your name?" The man straightened, announced himself as Master Chen Zhao, direct lineage from the Shaolin Temple, 40 years of training, master of 5 traditional styles, guardian of authentic Chinese martial arts. He studied under masters whose names Bruce wouldn't dare speak out loud, masters who would be ashamed to see what Bruce had done, how he had prostituted their sacred art. Bruce nodded slowly, asked another question. "Why are you here?" Master Chen's face twisted with contempt. He was here to expose Bruce Lee as a fraud, to challenge him publicly, to prove that traditional Kung Fu was superior to Bruce's made-up nonsense, to shut down this 500 deluded followers. They were wasting their time and money on a con artist. He was here to shut down this circus before more damage was done. Bruce asked one more question. "You want to fight me?" Master Chen didn't hesitate. "Yes, right now, in front of everyone. No rules. Traditional challenge. First to submit or first blood. The old way, the way real martial artists settle disputes. And when I lose," he continued, "when I expose you, you close your school. You stop teaching. You apologize to every legitimate Kung Fu master you have disrespected. You admit you are nothing but a fake." The room was dead silent. Bruce could refuse, could call security, could de-escalate, could do a dozen things to avoid physical confrontation, but everyone in that room knew he wouldn't, because Bruce Lee didn't back down, ever, not from anyone, not for anything. Bruce took one step forward. His bare feet made no sound on the hardwood floor. "Okay," he said in English, then repeated in Cantonese. "Okay, we fight. But not to first blood, not to submission. Just one exchange, one technique. I will show you one thing. If you can defend it, I close my school. If you cannot defend it, you leave and never come back." Master Chen laughed. One technique? He had trained for 40 years. He could defend against anything. Bruce was making this too easy. He agreed. One exchange, one technique. When he defended it effortlessly, Bruce's reputation would die today. Bruce told everyone to move back, clear space. The students scrambled, pushing against walls, creating a circle 20 feet in diameter. Empty hardwood floor, just Bruce and Master Chen. 500 witnesses. Master Chen removed his expensive silk jacket, handed it to someone without looking. Underneath, a black sleeveless shirt. His arms were thick, muscular, covered in scars from decades of hard training. Real training, traditional training. He dropped into a perfect horse stance, feet wide, knees bent, hands up in classical crane position. Textbook form, museum quality technique. Exactly what you'd see in a kung fu manual from the Ming Dynasty. Bruce didn't take a stance, just stood normally, feet shoulder-width apart, hands relaxed at his sides, breathing normal, face calm. He looked like he was waiting for a bus, not preparing to fight a master with 40 years of experience. This infuriated Master Chen even more. The disrespect, the arrogance, the complete lack of traditional form or respect for the old ways. Bruce told Master Chen the technique he would use. "I will throw one punch, a straight lead to the solar plexus. You can defend however you want. Any block, any counter, any movement from any traditional style. 40 years of knowledge, 5 styles worth of techniques, all available. Just stop one punch." Master Chen almost laughed out loud. A straight punch? That's it? That's Bruce Lee's revolutionary technique? A basic strike every beginner learns in week 1? This was too easy. This was insulting. But fine, let Bruce embarrass himself. Let everyone see that traditional kung fu could easily handle whatever bastardized technique Bruce threw. Master Chen set his stance, perfect form, hands up, ready, center of gravity low, balanced, immovable. He had defended against thousands of punches in 40 years. This would be no different. He would block it, counter it, and everyone would see, everyone would know. Bruce Lee was nothing special. Bruce asked, "Are you ready?" Master Chen nodded. Bruce took half a step forward. His right foot slid forward 6 inches. Nothing else moved, just that half step. Then it happened. Bruce's fist moved. Didn't chamber, didn't pull back, didn't telegraph, just suddenly existed 3 feet forward, traveling at a speed Master Chen's brain couldn't process. It wasn't a punch in the traditional sense. It was an explosion, a transfer of energy that started in Bruce's legs, traveled through his hips, his core, his shoulder, and exited through his fist in one continuous whip-crack motion. The sound it made when it connected was wet and sharp, like a mallet hitting a side of beef. The fist landed exactly where Bruce said it would, solar plexus, dead center. Master Chen's crane block never moved. His hands stayed frozen in perfect form, 6 inches away from where they needed to be. His brain never sent the signal. Too fast, too direct, too economical. No wasted motion, no warning. Just Bruce Lee's fist appearing in Master Chen's torso like it teleported there. Master Chen's eyes went wide. His mouth opened. No sound came out, just air. All the air in his lungs exiting at once. His perfect horse stance collapsed. His knees buckled. He stumbled backward. 3 steps, 4. His hands dropped to his stomach. He doubled over, gasped, tried to breathe, couldn't. The solar plexus strike paralyzes the diaphragm, shuts down breathing temporarily. Master Chen dropped to one knee, still trying to pull air into lungs that wouldn't work. His face went from red to purple. Panic set in. He was suffocating, couldn't breathe, couldn't speak, couldn't do anything except kneel there in front of 500 people, desperately trying to remember how to breathe. The entire sequence took 8 seconds, from the moment Bruce moved to the moment Master Chen dropped to his knee. 8 seconds to completely dismantle 40 years of traditional training. 8 seconds to prove every word Bruce said about economy of motion. 8 seconds to validate everything Bruce teaches. 8 seconds that changed Master Chen's entire understanding of martial arts. The room stayed silent. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. They had just witnessed something impossible, watched a man who claimed 40 years of mastery get shut down by a single punch from a 26-year-old who didn't even take a traditional stance, watched technique and speed and understanding beat tradition and pride and arrogance, watched the old way lose to the new way in the most definitive demonstration possible. Bruce didn't celebrate, didn't gloat, didn't smile or pose or claim victory. He just walked over to Master Chen, knelt down next to him, put a hand on his back, spoke quietly in Cantonese, told him to relax, told him breathing would come back, told him it was okay. The strike was controlled. No permanent damage, just temporary paralysis. Your diaphragm will reset in 30 seconds. Just wait. Just breathe. Bruce stayed there with his hand on Master Chen's back, waiting, calm, patient, like he was helping a student. Not an enemy, not a challenger, a student. Slowly, Master Chen's breathing came back, ragged at first, then deeper, then normal. He stayed on his knee, head down, shaking not from pain but from shock, from the realization of what just happened, from understanding how completely wrong he was, about Bruce, about technique, about what mattered in real combat. 40 years of training hadn't prepared him for 8 seconds of reality. Bruce helped him stand. Master Chen could barely look at him. The shame was overwhelming. He came here to expose a fraud, to defend tradition, to prove his superiority. Instead, he got destroyed in front of 500 people by the exact technique Bruce announced beforehand, a technique Master Chen swore he could easily defend. His pride was shattered, his reputation ruined. Everything he believed about himself and his training just got proven wrong in the most public way possible. But then, Bruce did something Master Chen never expected. Bruce bowed to him, a formal traditional bow, the kind you give to a respected master, the kind that shows honor and reverence. Master Chen stared in confusion. Bruce explained in Cantonese, loud enough for Chinese speakers in the room to hear, but quiet enough to maintain some privacy. Your stance was perfect. Your form was textbook. Your 40 years of training are visible in every movement. I don't disrespect that training. I don't dismiss those decades of dedication. What I disagree with is not the training itself, but the assumption that traditional form equals combat effectiveness. Those are two different things. You are a master of traditional form, absolutely, no question. But form is not fighting. Fighting is about what works when someone is trying to hurt you, and what works is economy, speed, directness, efficiency. Not because tradition is bad, but because tradition wasn't designed for modern combat. It was designed for a different time, a different context, a different purpose. Bruce paused, letting the words sink in. You are welcome to stay, to watch the rest of the seminar, to learn if you want, to challenge assumptions. I didn't humiliate you to destroy you. I did it to teach you, to show you there's another way, a better way, a way that respects tradition while moving beyond it. You can hold on to your pride and leave in shame, or you can let go of your pride and stay to learn. The choice is yours. Master Chen stood there for a long moment, 500 people watching, waiting to see what he would do. His expensive silk jacket was still crumpled on the floor where someone had dropped it. His reputation was destroyed. His challenge was lost. His entire world view just got dismantled in 8 seconds. He could leave, should leave, save whatever face was left. But then he looked at Bruce, really looked at him. Not arrogance, not mockery, just a teacher offering knowledge, just a martial artist showing respect to another martial artist, despite everything. Master Chen picked up his jacket, walked to the back of the room, sat down against the wall, cross-legged, hands on his knees, and stayed. For the next 2 hours he watched Bruce teach, watched him demonstrate, watched him explain economy of motion and broken rhythm and the principle of intercepting, watched everything he came here to mock and dismiss. And something shifted inside him, something cracked open, something that had been closed for 40 years. 3 weeks later, Master Chen showed up to Bruce's regular Thursday class. Didn't announce himself, just walked in quietly, bowed to Bruce, asked if he could train. Bruce said yes. Master Chen trained with Bruce for the next 3 years. Never said much, never bragged about his 40 years of training, just showed up, worked, learned, let go of tradition, not because tradition was worthless, but because holding on to it was preventing him from growing. By 1970, Master Chen became one of Bruce's assistant instructors, teaching his own students the principles he once dismissed as fraud, teaching them that real mastery is not about defending tradition, it's about discovering truth. Years later, a reporter asked Master Chen about that day, about the challenge, about the 8 seconds that changed everything. Master Chen thought for a long time, then said, "Bruce Lee didn't beat me with a punch. Bruce Lee beat me with humility, with respect, with the grace to help me up after knocking me down, with the wisdom to teach instead of humiliate. I came to that room to prove I was superior. I left that room knowing I was a beginner. And that realization saved my martial arts, saved my understanding, saved me." The story spread through the martial arts community, got retold in dojos and kwuns across America, got embellished and exaggerated and turned into legend, but the core stayed true. The day an arrogant master challenged Bruce Lee in front of 500 people. The day 8 seconds changed a 40-year career. The day tradition met evolution, and instead of destroying each other, they became stronger together. Bruce Lee never talked about that fight publicly, never bragged about it, never used it to promote himself. When students asked, he would say only this: "Fighting is easy. Any idiot can throw a punch. Teaching is hard. Making someone want to learn after you've beaten them, that's the real challenge. That's where martial arts becomes art instead of violence. That's the difference between winning a fight and changing a life." The legacy. March 1967, Seattle, a rainy Saturday afternoon. 8 seconds proved Bruce Lee was right about technique. The bow that followed proved he was wise about humanity. And 50 years later, martial artists still tell the story. Not because Bruce Lee won a fight, winning fights was never the point, but because he showed what mastery truly means. Not the ability to defeat an opponent, the ability to transform an enemy into a student, to break someone down and then build them back up stronger. To win with your fist and teach with your heart. That's the lesson 500 people learned that day. That's the legacy that outlasted the 8 seconds. That real power isn't in the punch. It's what you do after the punch lands. Do you destroy or do you teach? Do you humiliate or do you elevate? Bruce Lee chose to teach, and Master Chen, the man who came to expose him as a fraud, became living proof that the greatest victory isn't defeating your opponent, it's earning their respect.